With David. Bethlehem. The water. Be it far from me, O Lord. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives? Therefore, he would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. And Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief among three. And he lifted up his spear against 300 and slew them, and had the name among three. Be it far from me, O Lord, from me, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives? Drink it. These things did these three mighty men. He not most honorable of three? Therefore he was their captain, howbeit he attained not unto the first three. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man, of Kabzeel, 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 Zeel, who had done many acts. He slew two lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. The son of Yehoiada. And he slew an Egyptian goodly man. Okay. What was his name? Have a spear in his hand. Down to him with the staff, plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. He dead had the name among three mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he attained not to the first three. And David set him over his guard. Not first three. Okay, I'll write that down. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shema the Harodite, Elika the Harodite. We talked about Sla. Um, Let me take out another piece of paper. Any money, man? David's mighty men. So far we got Athena, maybe.
Can you hear me okay, Charles?
There we go. Yes. Yes, I
Cool.
hear you.
Appreciate it. All right, cool. You can hear me okay then. All right. Let's set up these verses.
So far, we're
I had an idea for the free food that I got that I'll use it when I'm feeling tired as like heat up food. Not for like a full meal, but something to just get like heat to help with the wake up.
okay.
Yep. All right. Today we are in 23. And we are in verse. There we go. All right.
Oh, yeah, verse 15. Yep.
Huh?
Apparently, I can't count. I was just saying the verse we're in. I never even said the chapter. 2 Samuel chapter 23, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
No, I
said
was
I
just
couldn't
turning on the
count.
truck and stuff. And you said you couldn't count. Why not?
Oh, you're good. Um, I miscounted I miscounted it. You'll see when we get in the Bible study why I miscounted.
Okay.
I've done this before in the previous Bible study where there was like a times.
Your signal, you're cutting out in your voice a little bit, bro.
Is it? How about now?
It sounds good when it is good, but it's like cutting off every so often. Where are you at?
My room.
Okay. You seem to have a steady problem in your room for signal, where it's like it's not always good. Just a heads up.
That's interesting. I wonder why it's
Because
having
this
an
is
issue
like
now.
every time. Well, because it's like the third or fourth time where we'll hear you a little bit, but then you have moments where it like cuts out.
Yeah, no, I find it interesting. It's giving me the issue at this
Oh, there
time.
goes again. Nope, you're
Like
bad
when I
again.
was bad again,
Yeah,
still bad.
a little bit.
Huh. What I did last year when I was truck driving, and every time I would truck drive, would have no connection, but during Bible study. But when it wasn't Bible study, it was perfect.
Well, maybe because if you're moving around, it gives it more of a strength to catch the signal.
Because any other time the Bible study before it was fine. If I sat on the table, because that's where I write the
Huh?
notes at and everything.
You said on the table?
Talk about that where oh sorry. I mean sitting at the
Wherever
table
you're
to
at is bad, bro. You got to move where
doodle
you're at.
notes. I'm still in the house. Here, let me leave the study and I'll reset the phone.
Oh, there you go. Now you're better.
Yeah, I'll leave the study and reset the phone.
Oh, no, you're
That's
good
weird.
now.
All I did was go in the kitchen, but you just said I wasn't when I was in the
Did,
kitchen.
did you just go back to the kitchen? You just, because you're good right now.
I
Wherever you were
moved.
before, you sucked. You're good now.
Okay, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I can hear you bright as day. dark as night. No evil shall escape my
Yeah, that's
sight.
extremely weird.
Well, not really, because if you consider the fact that we
Yeah,
might
really.
sit at the, if we sit, no, because remember, if we sit at the edge of at the edge of the thing, the tower circle, that might be why.
Mm. I mean, it's only been an issue the last couple times, but it would never was an issue before. That's why it's kind of like
Yeah.
that's why I think it's a phone issue because I had this issue with the phone last year where it doesn't give me cell phone issues until Bible study, which is I do believe somebody's listening to the phone calls and just playing with it. That's what I believe.
Could be. Who else is on? Because I'm right now I'm doing the verses, so I don't know who's all on.
Oh, Chris is on.
All right, Chris, you ready for today?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
I'm looking over what else I should be bringing up right now.
You said what?
I'm looking if there's anything else I need to bring up right now.
Oh, okay. Good.
Give us a heads up on the chat if they're listening to your phone calls as well and messing with your tower, messing with your phone.
That's a wild statement.
I mean, I'm still trying to
It
figure out
wouldn't be the
why it keeps
first
happening
time.
with this phone. It happened a lot last year when I did Bible studies with Matt. It would only mess. It would. It's funny. I would talk to Matt for like 8 hours in a day, but the only time the phone would mess up was during Bible study, and this is before Zoom. We wasn't even doing it on Zoom calls. So
Well, it might be
yeah.
because of Zoom though. Remember, I have places where we'd had Bible studies, and I still had signal enough to call, but not enough signal to actually study through.
Oh yeah, no, those issues, yeah, but
That
Charles
might
doesn't
be the
have
case.
I had one issue was the one I took that one load through that route through Oregon where there was no connection for me at all. That was that where I was listening, but I couldn't be involved really much. There was
Mhm.
one time. Other than that, I really do believe that this phone's getting upgraded anyway. I'll probably hit up next Thursday. I'll probably talk to him, see what I can do with it. I got to keep the iPhone though, but this phone got to go.
Mhm.
Hopefully they don't destroy my next Samsung. You know, if you're listening, it would be nice if I have a phone that works during Bible study at all times. Put it on my Christmas list if you're listening. No coal in my stocking this time.
Oh my goodness. Funny as heck, bro. All right. Now to go check it out, and then otherwise we're good. It's just us three. Where's everybody else at? Hold on, let me call some people. See what's going on. All right. I gotta make sure to let everybody know. I thought I had sent it, Thomas. I was wrong. I didn't send it. That's my fault. But I gotta make sure everybody understands. You don't have to wait for me to send it. You can click the past links. All right, let's see. So far, it's like, all right, let me call Tremaine and Kivana. One person to call. Okay, she called on right as I called her. All right, cool. All right, one last person to call, and then we can get started, everybody. All right, looks like it's just us. Tremaine ain't answering. So, since Chris is doing the summary today, Charles and Chris, make sure to unmute yourself so I know you understand. We'll go in order of I'll read first. Chris, you'll actually Charles, you'll read next, and then Chris, you'll be able to finish this out.
Got it.
And let me
Got
just
you.
make sure all these are good.
Is my connection still bad, or can you still hear me clearly?
Yes, it's bad.
It just got bad.
You were good all before, but you're
I'm
bad
still
now.
I'm in the kitchen. Let me see what happens
Are
if
you
I go
on the
outside.
Wi-Fi?
No, I'm never on the Wi-Fi. Hey, I'll go outside.
Well, you're clear now.
I don't get it, man. This phone is stupid.
Yeah, now he's
don't-
back by the room. Before.
Now you're back by the room.
Yeah, I'm in the room. I walked in the room to get my hat. I go outside, but you got to clear.
Like I said, it might be a movement thing. When you're moving, you catch more connection than when you're sitting still. But I know
Yeah, I'm
there's
gonna
always
reboot this
signal
thing.
by the chairs and by the table. All right. So, anyways, welcome everybody to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we'll be getting into 2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 15 to 19 to start. Again, that's 2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 15 to 19, and I'll go ahead and pray us in. Everybody bow your heads. Father, I want to thank you for this time you've given us to be able to study your word, and thank you for every second that's not promised. We pray for your assistance in the signal for Charles, and that everybody is not only able to hear what was being said, but also able to follow along. In your son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ Yeshua. Amen. All right, go ahead, Chris, with the summary from last time.
All right. So last time we got through, what was it, verses 1 through 14, 2 Samuel chapter 23. And it's kind of starts off with a speech of David's quote unquote last words, as we hear. And it's basically God speaking through him, telling him or speaking unto the people about the ruler of the people must be just and with God. And by just, you mean being righteous in the eyes of God and his will, and how they operate. And the sons of the wicked, or they said specifically Belial, not to deal with them because they'll be thorns and interacting them basically will end up hurting you in the long run. So just avoid them, push them out entirely. What else? We got into basically like a recap of, excuse me, the like the three mighty men that fought with David against the Philistines and brought victory into David's kingdom or God's kingdom. And I think that's pretty much
Who were the
the
three?
gist of it. Who were the three? We got Adino, Eleazar, and Shema.
Good. Good. Nothing to add. Good job, especially for your first time. Good job. All right. Now we'll get into 2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 15 to 19. I'll give everybody a second to get there in case you're not. All right. And David longed and said, "Oh, that one would give me drink of the water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." And the three mighty men brake through the host of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. And he said, "Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives?" Therefore he would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. And Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief among three. And he lifted up his spear against 300 and slew them, and had the name among three. Was he not most honorable of three? Therefore he was their captain. Howbeit he attained not unto the first three. So here we have where David's sitting here like, man, I wish I could just have some of that water again from over there. And so the three mighty men we just talked about, they were sitting there like, all right, cool, we'll go get it. So they run through the group of Philistines, the ones in charge of the Philistines, and broke through their ranks to draw some water. But then David's response is interesting because he wouldn't take none of the water. He wouldn't drink none. He poured out instead. And he said, "Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of men that went in jeopardy of their lives?" So he's using a metaphor of the water, calling it the blood of the men that are risking their lives here. Now, we keep in mind, yeah, it's good that they were able to destroy some of the Philistines and get to do this and to give it to David. But look at what David's actually saying by pointing that out. He's pointing out that right now his men are at war and there's people dying. and he's gonna sit here and sip this water. It's as if he would have blood on his hands. And then, so then it finishes up by saying, these things did these three mighty men. So then we go into another person, Abishai, Joab's brother, and he was chief among three. So he was the best, or the one in charge of the three. And he lifted up his spear. Oh no, he was chief among three. So he was the best of another group of three that was doing some crazy things. He lifted up his spear against 300 and killed them. And he had the name among three. Was he not the most honorable of three? So that was the nickname for Abishai. Abishai is now known as the most honorable among three. And it goes out of its way to say, therefore, he was the captain of those three. But regardless of that, he did not attain unto the first three. Now, Kivana, I don't know if you're able to answer. Go ahead and unmute if you are. All right. So, why would it go out of its way? Possibility question based on context. Why would it go out of its way to point out that he could not attain, he couldn't reach the levels of the first three?
Why would it go out? I'm not sure. Just I would think just because to point out that sometimes, that it's not reachable. Sometimes you're not gonna get it. Or there could be someone that's worthy enough to get the position other than him.
Well, remember, it's not a position. We're talking about a level of quality.
I'm saying not positions, but like specifically just
to be on their same level.
Same level, yeah.
That's not bad, but it's not really, it doesn't really work with the context. What is the context that we're reading about? We're reading about how these three did these amazing feats to the point that they were known as the best among everybody. And Abishai was known as the best among his group of three, but he could never reach as far as them. So in that context, what were we talking about last time? We were talking about war, we were talking about defeating people, and we were talking about the honor and the way that people see him. So he never reached the same level of honor. Now, if we look at the context, your answer actually doesn't make sense with that as a possibility. Because there's nothing to show, it doesn't show anything of a desire for him to be with them, to be on that level or have that prestige. Does it?
I'm guessing no if I was incorrect.
Well, I was wanting you to look at it. That's why I said, does it show anything from your point of view? What in the area shows that it's an unattainable thing?
Because I mean he's tried, and he didn't get that honor. I mean he didn't get to that level. So that's how I'm taking it.
Okay, I would look a little deeper in it because you're not looking at the why. You're not really explaining a why for it. That's why it's incorrect. It literally said he didn't attain it. So why go out of its way to say he didn't attain it? If it was going to say that he couldn't attain it, if that was the purpose behind it, it would have shown something as towards his desire to attain it just for the sake of it. But it didn't do anything about his desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is something to keep in mind with the reading and what's going on, that pay attention to what desires or what it points out when it correlates. So I'll give another person a chance. Thomas, go ahead. I'll give you a shot. Why would it go out of its way to say that he did all these great things, but he never was able to reach the place that, or reach the level that the first three were in status?
Honestly, I'm looking at it as he hasn't been through what they've been through. Or That's how I
Well,
see it.
it literally is saying that, but you're not, again, you're not answering the why. We're talking about a possibility. You're answering what already exists. You made the same mistake Ivana did.
Yeah.
The question was, why would it say that? Not the fact that it does. All right, Chris, I'll give you a shot.
I mean, so I'm thinking it's just like he is, the other three, they're top dogs, and he might not be as good as them skill wise, but he is the most honorable. Like it's just trying to point out that specific trait of him, I guess.
Well, no, keep
So
in mind we're talking about two separate groups of three. We're
sorry.
not talking
So
about the
your
same
question
three.
is,
Yeah. The
your
question
question is
is,
what?
why would it point out as potential? Why would it point out that he was, no matter how good or all the stuff he did, he was unable to attain what the original three were?
It still would point to that because even if he's not as good, he's the most honorable. So because of that, that would make him the captain of them because they did say he was the captain of them.
No, it said he was the captain of the other three, not the first three. You got to look at the context. We're talking about two separate sets of three.
See,
Yeah,
at
the
first I
first
was
three
talking
that
about
we,
the two separate three. Their feats are higher than his, but he's known for his honorability, and they're known for their skill. That's why I'm saying that's the possibility of what they could be talking about. So it could be
I mean, it's okay. So realistically, based on the context, I would say no, but it's sort of a stretch to try to reach that point because we're talking about how the other three did these amazing feats. They are honored. When it points out Abishai's honor, it's in relevance to the two that he was with. That he was more honorable than them. So to bring it up to say that, well, his honor was so great that he was even more honorable than the first three, yeah, that's possible, but that's not really an important detail type thing. Now, if you go further into it, maybe, but you're on the cusp of it, of one possibility. Now, there's multiple possibilities, but you're not really digging in far enough in that, I would say. Okay, Charles, I'll give you a chance.
Let me know if this is a. Can you hear me clearly? I'm outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first you started, but yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know if I'm reaching with this one. God
you're
put
gone
those other
again.
three in position.
You're gone again.
What? That is gone again. Go back in the house. How about now?
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, I'm standing right here. Let me know if I'm reaching with this one. God put the other three in positions to do greater feats than Abishai. That's one I'm thinking about.
Okay, again,
And
you're stating what's already been stated. You're not talking about the possibility in the future. My question again, I'm gonna rephrase it. Why would it do this? What are the possibilities of why it would point that out? You guys keep answering what's said here. You're not answering what's a possibility. You gotta understand what the word possibility means. It means something beyond what is already shown. What's already shown is that he's not able to attain. Kivana's side, it's already shown that he is an honorable person more than the other two that he was with. It's already shown what you said, Charles. You guys aren't actually answering the question. You need to think about the words I'm saying. I'm asking a possibility question. Now, I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm gonna Chris, I'll give you one last chance, and I'm just gonna give one answer. I'll give multiple answers and possibilities.
All right. First thing I want to say, like when you because I was getting into the point of why it's saying he's honorable because it's like the fact that they go out of their way to mention that could be the means of like setting him up to be the next in line, the next king. That's why I'm saying
Okay,
he's so
that's a
honorable.
good possibility.
But you
That
went
okay.
into, you started correcting me before I was even able to say something, and that happens like a couple times. So it was like, I know it's taking me a little bit to get it out, but that's why I pointed out the whole point of them saying he was honorable.
When I that's not actually actually that would I would say that's a lie then, because you had a chance to answer multiple times, you never brought that up. So you're either switching up your answer to something else, because you brought up about him being more honorable than the other two, and there's that, and I said, well, there it shows he's not honorable of the other three, he's honorable over his other two, and at that time you could have said it then. So you're
But
either lying or you're mistaking what you said.
nah,
We got to be cautious that we're not
we can read
being,
the tape
we
on
can't
that.
be switching, we got to be cautious that we're not switching something up to try to get a right answer, Chris.
No, I'm not. Trust me, we can read the tape later. But go ahead, we can go for it.
You literally had an opportunity, you could have said that earlier. When I
We can
gave the
go forward.
correction about the on, I'm not, okay, Chris, you gotta, when you're giving, I'm giving correction, you need to take the correction and listen. I'm not gonna have a back and forth like last time. We talked about this already. Anyways, yes, that is a possibility. But it's not about the honor itself. That's the possibility. The honor has already been stated. The possibility of, because he's so honorable, he's going to be lifted up as the next king. That's a possibility. And that part you didn't bring up before, even though you had to. But yes, that's one possibility. Charles, you were going to say something else before I answered? Before I gave Chris a chance?
You were going to give the answer. I was just going to ask if you could reword the question, but you said you were going to give the answer.
Okay. So there's multiple possibilities of here of why it says that. It went out of its way, number one, to point out what the original three did. How they destroyed these people. They just went straight through the Philistine camp. They killed hundreds or thousands, and they did all this stuff. And Abishai even points out that he killed 300, but also goes out of its way to say he could never reach the level of them. A couple possibilities. One, because it points out the honor after it's, and then afterwards says that, but he was never able to reach, it's showing a distinction between the two. So it's unlikely that he would be lifted up as king is the reason why. Because if it was about the honor itself, then it wouldn't have pointed out he was the most honorable, but he couldn't reach where they were at. See, when it points that out, it could mean either he couldn't reach where they're at as in capability, or it could mean he couldn't reach where they're at as in honor. Both are available, and we're cutting off one if we say that. It's only about their skills versus his honor. That's where the problem with the two sets of three come in. Because it didn't say he was more honorable than the first three. It said he was more honorable in his second group of three, and it points out that he couldn't reach the first three. That would show by the context, he's maybe not as honorable as the first three. So then the other two possibilities, maybe even though his honor is not as much, maybe he still becomes king. That's one. Two, maybe it's setting up a division for us to understand. The three did all this stuff. And then David, what did we read that David did just here, Charles? After they brought him the water?
About pouring that water out.
Yeah, you started cutting out, but I understood you. Yes, he poured the water out. Here, I just told you that I want some water from this well. And you not only go and grab it, but you fight through the enemy to go get it. And then I pour it out. There's a possibility that the first three, as great as they are, they let their skill or they let their feet get to their head and start becoming enemies of David. And so it points out the honor of Abishai. This is the second portion, as to say he may not have been as honorable as them at first, but he stayed loyal and became more honorable in the last. So that loyalty and sticking by David could be another possibility. Also, it could be setting up Abishai to be the enemy, because it points out the honor among the three, but that he could never reach the first three. Now, usually when somebody's focused on somebody else's success, what is the emotion that that person feels, Kivana?
Repeat that.
I'll rephrase. If
No, you can
I'm
just
focused,
repeat it. I understood it. I just didn't hear you.
okay. Usually when somebody is too focused on somebody else's success, what is the emotion that that person is feeling or dealing with?
Jealousy could be.
Yeah. So we could be in a position too, as a possibility, where maybe it's not the first three that become an enemy. Maybe it's Abishai that becomes an enemy. Maybe he's too focused on honor and respect. How many times have we had a boss at our job or a friend who's in a position of authority that's so focused on them having the honor, them being lifted up, that they're unwilling to hear when they're in the wrong. They're unwilling to maneuver. They're unwilling to deal with things because they have some level of trying. They have some level of lifting up. So we got to be cautious that how we're moving is not out of jealousy ourselves and take that lesson into ourselves. We got to be cautious that we're not focused on other people's success, except in the case to say we're happy for you, or is there any way we could help you to become more successful? That should be the only focus, except if the success goes against God's will. That would be an exception. But if it all works in God's will, then when somebody else is doing well, we should be happy for them. We should be praising it. We should be thanking God for it and seeing maybe if we could be a part of it. Not holding somebody back, not trying to come at somebody the wrong way. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the next section. Any questions or any comments before we go to this second section? Now would be the time to raise your hand. Oh, we lost Paul. All right, Charles, go ahead and speak to make sure you're good first.
How about now?
No, you were good for the first word, and that was it.
How is it going now?
Yeah, good. You're good now.
That's crazy. I'm gonna Sam chapter
Nope,
20
you're not good anymore.
verses 20.
Maybe try connecting to the Wi-Fi. Maybe your signal sucks on your phone. What phone are you on?
This one, Samsung, the one I've been doing with all the Bible studies.
Oh, bro, you know you've had problems with that Samsung sometimes. Go on the Wi-Fi, see if it makes a difference. I'll give you a second.
I don't remember the password. Will it connect automatically? Oh,
Oh, we lost Charles. Oh, no. Oh, he might be connecting to the Wi-Fi. Give him a second.
hold on. Did I get booted out?
There you go. No, you're in.
What was that? Did you kick me off the meeting?
No.
It kicked me out the meeting and put me back in it.
Oh, probably because you were connected to Wi-Fi. You disconnect signal. If the signal gets too low, it'll automatically disconnect you.
Oh, this is the first time it's ever done that to me on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, you sound
But
perfectly good now. Go ahead.
okay, so I'm gonna be reading 2 Samuel chapter 23, verses 20 to 24. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. Verse 20. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzael, who had done many acts. He slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man, and the Egyptian had a spear in his hand. But he went down to him with the staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he attained not to the first 3. And David set him over his guard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem. Okay, that's it. So right now it sounds like we're going down the list of these 30 mighty. And the next one we got for mine is Benaiah, who killed 2 let me read that again. He killed the lion. Oh yeah, it was 2 lion-like men from the region of Moab and the lion. And it talked about in the time of snow. So winter. He killed this lion in winter. Or fall, whichever but it is a time of snow. So then he killed an Egyptian, took the Egyptian spear from him, killed the Egyptian with his own spear. That's and it also brought up something that Matt was talking about in his verses about being the one I'm reading about. Benaiah is more honorable than the 30, but he couldn't reach the first 3. So we have the most Benaiah as the most honorable of the 30 mighty, but still couldn't reach the first 3. That's funny. And David put Benaiah as like a captain over his guards. Then we get into Elhanan, who's probably going to be the next one of the mighty, but it has a comma on it. I'm reading it through the Zoom too, by the way, man. I'm not.
Yeah,
My phone is really tripping. But that's all. It ends on a comma on the Zoom app. So that's all I got for my explanation.
yeah, I should have pointed out. I apologize. That's my fault. And Chris, same thing for you. When you get to the end, the last comma, because it goes way past 8 verses of just these names. So when you get to the last one, read the last comma as if it's a period.
I got you. Since it is just the names, wouldn't it be better just to finish it out? Or you want to keep it separate?
No, because we don't want to do too much, especially with names. Names make everything start to blend together when there's too many names. So if we read too much at once, everything else is going to blur out in our minds because there'll be too much information.
Got you.
Yeah, names are the worst part. There's like, I don't know how many times I read Genesis after when it started going into the generations of Adam and Eve's children before Noah. And there was Enoch, he never died. And I didn't notice it for like 4 or 5 times reading it through because the names reading too much together started to blend in where I was missing details. So yeah, names are the worst place to try to reach the end point and to read too much information at once.
Got you.
All right. So yeah, so other than that, yeah, Charles. So I'll ask the question again. Now that we're seeing it now, is there any change to anyone's responses? Kivana, Thomas, Chris, or Charles, to what you think, like the way it's pointing it out, the possibilities of why it's pointing it out, that they're not able to attain into the first 3. Anybody want to change their response and what they think may happen from it or why it points it out? Go ahead and raise your hand real quick. All right, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I want to change my response, but I'm really trying hard to figure out another possibility now because it narrows it down now for the possibilities.
Yeah, little bit, little bit.
If
All right, so
somebody else
what?
got it, go ahead.
Okay. Does anybody else want to change their answer? What they think the possibility is? Why it went out of its way to point that out? Because now it's done it twice to point out they have this honor, they have this ability, but they couldn't attain to the first three. No, nobody wants to change their response. You guys want to stick with your answers? All right, Chris, go ahead.
See, I'm kind of in the same boat as Charles because I know what now I see what you meant by but he couldn't attain to the first three because now they're saying he couldn't do it either, but he had the same honorable factor in his statement. But it's like, as far as the reason of why they would point that out again, I don't know.
And remember, we're talking possibilities of like where it could lead.
Yeah, it,
Remember,
maybe.
your first guess was that maybe Abishai is going to end up being king. That was your first guess.
So now it's like who? It's still like they could be the kings, but now it's like maybe they could be like the council or something because they're the most honorable and then advisors of the king or something.
Okay, so maybe it's setting up a hierarchy.
Maybe.
Okay, that's one possibility. Kivana or Thomas, do you guys want to change? Give them a chance. Nope, I guess not. Oh, yep. Kivana, you wanted to say something?
No, I was gonna just say it's been towards what Chris and Charles said. There's something greater for him. It's just if that's not it, it's something greater.
What do you mean by that?
Like king. That's what I was thinking.
Great. Okay, so something's greater for who?
Herbishai. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Well, that wouldn't make sense now because we just read about not just Abishai, but what we read here, we read about Benai had honor too, but even he wasn't able to reach or attain the three. So that doesn't make sense with context to say, well, Abishai is going to be king now.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna stick to mine. I don't know.
All right. Remember, guys, when we're going through, to keep in mind, if it shows that multiple people they're doing great things, but they're not measuring up to somebody, then it's going out of its way to show that in some way, shape, or form, the first three were better than everybody. Whether it be honor, skill, whatever, they're better than them. Well, if it's going out of its way to point out than them, then it's not a possibility that Abishai would be king. Maybe it's setting up a hierarchy like Chris was saying. That's one possibility. But the possibility of Abishai being king, that's kind of off the table of the reasoning why now. You see what I'm saying, Kivana?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Well, I was saying, do you understand like how that cuts that off?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, I have to. Can you hear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to piggyback off Chris by saying maybe we're talking about a possibility of a future judge judging over a land, or finally someone of the children of Israel that's motivating and convincing everybody else of the children of Israel to read the laws of Moses instead of like David being king and all the stuff happening when he could have prevented some things if he read the laws, he read the book, but he didn't. So there's a possibility for that as
So
well.
you mean
Because
like
that is a
like
very important,
okay, so not king, but another high position.
a high enough position to make sure that the all of Israel is actually following the laws. And hey, well, we need to read up on this or read up on that. We haven't had one of those people that would bring up the laws of this and the laws of that in a while. We haven't had one in a while in our studies, and that's an important person, in my opinion, important detail, important
Now,
possibility. I'm sorry.
I would say that your possibility only works in one way. and it's not a godly way. It is a
Mm.
possibility, but keep in mind why we don't have judges anymore. What was the reason why?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
I thought we technically not like
Oh,
that judge. I'm talking about like the judges under the king.
there is no judges under the king.
Oh, that
Where
counted
did?
for all of them
Yeah, they're
because
gone,
of the
bro.
children of Israel complaining and griping about someone ruling over them.
Yeah. Now there is a possibility with him being put as a judge, Abishai or Benaiah, but it wouldn't be in a good way. If
In a
that was to
sinful way.
happen, it would have to be, for it to be a real possibility based on context and what we've read so far, it would have to be in a sinful way, like Absalom. Absalom just made himself a judge, and David didn't stop nothing, but he just was like, I guess I'll be judged. Absalom just did it himself and then created this whole evil scheme. That would be a possibility based on the context, but not in a godly way, because the whole judges thing is done away with now. It's just the king, because they didn't want judges and they didn't want God as king. They wanted to be like everybody else. So it does work, but only in one way. Now, there's one possibility you guys are still forgetting. We're seeing all these people being lifted up and said that they're so good, but they're never raised up to where the first three was. That jealousy that we talked about with me and Kivana. So there's a possibility that this is setting up for a time of war between those three, and the rest of Israel is another possibility. Because everybody's getting compared to those first three. I don't know if any of you had siblings. Well, I know a couple you did. But for anybody that's had siblings, if you're constantly compared to the other sibling, why can't you be more like your brother? Why can't you be more like your sister? You know what? I like the way your brother or sister does. If that happens, does that create a bond between you and that sibling, Chris?
Not when someone else does it.
Yeah, exactly. So we keep on seeing this representation of they're not as good as the other. Now, Kivana, if you kept on being, well, actually, no, I want to give Thomas, are you able to answer? I want to give you a chance.
Yeah, what's up?
All right. If you kept on getting compared to another employee by your boss, and they kept saying, like, man, why can't you be like him? Like, you're doing some good work, but you need to be like him. And then you see that dude do something that's not necessarily bad, but it definitely ain't good. Are you going to be happy with the people above you?
No, definitely not. They got favorites.
Exactly. We're also having a possibility of favoritism being shown to the first three and how they're treated by the people of Israel. Everyone had this honor, but not like the first three. Man, y'all pretty good. But did you see your friend earlier today? Man, you're pretty good. This job is awesome. Imagine telling your boss, yeah, I like working here. It's not bad. But have you seen how they're treated at that other company? That other company is awesome. How do you think your boss is going to react to that, Charles? If you told him that?
Mine was going in and out. Repeat that one more time.
Yeah, I said, imagine if you were talking with your boss at a job and you told him, like, you know what, I like this company. It does a lot of good. Don't get me wrong. But have you seen that company over there? Man, that company over there is amazing. How's your boss going to feel about that?
Oh yeah, I'm next on the chopping block.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the positive aspects from you guys. Maybe they're setting up a hierarchy. Maybe they're setting it up to be working together in Israel in some form of management or boss level. But maybe it's on the negative. Maybe it's setting up for a war. Don't forget when you look at the possibilities, not because I remember a couple of studies ago, everyone focused on the negative and nobody saw the positive. Now y'all went reverse. Y'all all focusing on the positive and nobody sees the negative. We got to look at all sides, positive and negative, when we're studying. Otherwise, we close ourselves off to possible things. And we might be reading something thinking we got the context and we missed the whole thing. Now, any questions or comments before we go to the final section? Now be the time to raise your hand. All right, then go ahead, Chris. And remember on that. Oh, wait, go ahead, Charles.
On the Zoom, I don't see verse 30 on this. Or am I tripping?
Oh, did I skip 30? I
Let me
appreciate you.
does everybody see the same thing or am I tripping?
No, you're right. You're right. I see from 29 and 31. Talk about dropping the ball. See, we all make mistakes, even me. All right. And thank you for the heads up, Charles.
I got you. Okay.
All right, there we go. Now go ahead, Chris. Remember on that last one to read it like an ending statement.
Gotcha. So 2 Samuel chapter 23, finishing off verses 25 to 31. All right, so we got Shema the Haradite, Elika the Haradite, Helez the Palatite, or the Paltite, Era the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite, sheets, the Tekoite, Abiezer, the Anathotite,
Abiezer.
Abiezer,
Abiezer.
Abiezer, the
You were close.
Anathothite. I feel like I have a lisp saying that.
You did good though. You didn't mess up at all on that last try.
All right, Mebunai,
Mabunai.
the Mebunai, the Heshathite, or Hushathite, sorry. Salmon, the Achohite, Machari, the Netophathite, Haleb, the son of Baana, a Neto, come on now, a Netophathite, Ittai, the son of Ribai, out of Gibeah, of the children of Benjamin, Benaiah, the Pirathonite, Hiddai of Brooks of Gaash, Albeabon, the Arabathite, Osmaveth, the Barhumite. And we're just literally going through names at this point. The 30 chiefs. Matt, you there?
Oh, my bad. I had it on mute. I gave a correction and you didn't even hear me. I said, we're not just going through names. It went out of its way to point
Well, their
out
lineage
something
as
for
well.
someone.
My bad.
You said
Hold on.
what?
I said their lineage too, but
No, no,
Let me
no.
see
But I'm
what
saying
else.
there was like one or two people where it didn't just give the general lineage; it went out of its way to specify more. I don't want to tell you who, but it did go out of its way for that.
I would say the Carmelite. That's the son of the son of sons of. I would only say Itai because it
Yeah,
says the son of out of Gibeah of the children of Benjamin.
perfect. Yes, it went out of its way to specify more details for Itai. Now, this is something to keep in mind. What I was saying before when we're reading, when it goes out of its way to specify that much detail, when everybody else is just here's the person's name, here's where they come from, here's the person's name, here's where they come from. But then it gets to Itai and it says, here's this person's name, oh, and where he comes from, he's a son of Rabai. But then it goes out of its way to say out of Gibeah, out of the children of Benjamin. It goes out of its way to specify that he's of the children of Benjamin and the location. That's a little key note to keep in mind as we study that Itai is an important individual, most likely, and to keep his name in mind as we go forward. So in your guys' notes, I would write down that it singled out Itai in this list. So he might be important because that's something to keep in mind when it does that. And this is what I'm talking about when I bring it up about how there are times when the Bible will go out of its way to say something that is unnecessary. Well, it's never unnecessary. It's just not necessary at the moment. It's always just giving you a heads up 99% of the time. All right. Other than that, good. That was the only mistake I would say. And I wouldn't even say that's a mistake as much as like you didn't get anything wrong in your explanation. It's just a unnecessary detail I would add.
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
not like you got something wrong. It's just like a little bit more would have been a good idea.
yeah. Easily overlooked details.
Yeah. So, and that's good for future reference when we're going through. Now, anybody else got any comments or questions before we get ready to pray it out? All right. Now, before we do pray it out, I do want to say something since it happened during Bible study. Yesterday, during Bible study, I got snappy and had an attitude a couple of times with you guys. And I just wanted to apologize for that on the same platform. I made the mistake on here. I need to apologize on here. So I'm sorry, Chris and Charles and even Kivana and Thomas. I had an attitude yesterday was unnecessary and it was rude. And I know you guys haven't told me anything about it, but I know I was in the wrong. And so I apologize to everybody for the attitude I gave. And so I just want to say that. And with that being said, anybody else have anything they want to say to the study, or we'll pray it out now?
First off, just want to accept the apology. I was actually going to talk to you about it after, but yeah, my bad if it seemed like I'm coming at you a wrong way or something. But I'm trying to get that point in too, and I'm trying to do it on like the right way. So
Okay.
I also
Well,
apologize if it seems like I'm getting snappy.
I accept your apology too. I appreciate it too. So we're good between you and me then. But for everybody else, I hope you accept the apology. Other than that, does anybody else have anything they want to say or add about the study itself or anything before we pray it out? Or if they do want to say anything else, that's fine too. I'll give about 10 seconds before we pray it out. All right. Then you know what? Charles, why don't you go ahead? Actually, no, your signal's been off. Uh I'll go ahead and pray us out then. All right, everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for this time that you've given us to be able to read your word and what we've been able to learn today. I want to say thank you for even with the mistakes that we made, even in our behaviors, that we be ready and able to learn and grow, and we all make mistakes. And that I pray that the apologies worked through there, that everybody received them and accepted them. And I pray that the same mistake doesn't happen, that I'm not snappy at anybody and that nothing comes across as the wrong way. And if there's things to work on, that we work on it. God, I also want to pray and give thanks for the fact that we're able to see these details and grow together, because I don't know any other church that goes in depth as the level we do when it comes to studying. And so I pray that as we are going into depth, especially I know the first time it'll be hard, but I pray that we're able to receive the information and be able to take the lessons for our personal lives, as well as how we deal with each other. Just how, like in the word today, it was pointing out a lot of comparing between different people. But I pray that we take the lesson in the opposite for ourselves, that we don't be comparing ourselves to each other or others, unless it's just for the benefit of growth and positivity in the ways of godliness. We pray forgiveness for the sins we committed before now. We pray that we're able to do a better job, and that these lessons that we learn is always from the Bible, that we're able to take them into our lives, not just in our ears and listening, but into our hearts and into our behaviors, that we can see the change later on. In your son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ, Yeshua. Amen.
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 All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night.